if you wanted to represent the Gambino family, you had to go through Mike Coiro from the 70s, the 80s, and so on. And remember, Mike Coiro represented Gambinos, Lucchese's, Bananos, Colombos. Mike Coiro was like an all-around mob lawyer, and he was a good lawyer, but they had to destroy him too. Mike wasn't involved in drugs. Mike never held no money for Angelo Quack Quack, and the government knew that. But they had the tape with Angelo saying, but Mike never held any money. The government knew that. But that was enough to indict Mike Coiro. And Mike Coiro did 8 years in jail, old law, 8 years. As John Jr. would say, took it to the gate, walked it to the gate. You know what he got when he got home? A used Buick. And if it wasn't for Jojo Corazzo, he wouldn't have even gotten that. That's what the Gambino family gave Mike Coiro, a broken down Buick. But John was giving him $1,000 a month. Here's a man dying in Marion, dying in Springfield, but he made sure that Mike Coiro got $1,000. And how do I know? Because I made sure he got it. Yeah. Again, that goes to John's class. But where were the rest of them? Where were the Lucchese's? Where were the Bananos? Where was Uncle Pete? Where was my uncle? I had to say to Uncle Pete when Mike died, you got to go to his funeral and you got to give $5,000 to the funeral. I had to tell Pete 5 times to do it. Now, if John Gotti was on the street, there would have been 500 Gambinos in that funeral parlor for Mike Coiro.
Yeah.
But they gave him a Buick, a 5-year-old Buick. And when I told John that, John went crazy. So we got rid of the Buick, and they got him an Audi from Legend Porsche Audi on Long Island. There was I think through that Michael Francis or someone who knew him and knew that the Siegel family. They got him an Audi. But that was John. But I have to say again, Jojo did the right thing all the time. Jojo Corazzo did the right thing all the time. With me and with everybody that I know. You know, I like the guy. It's unfortunate that I had to be involved in the chaos with him, but he was a good guy. Good guy.
So once Mike Coiro gets out, he's no longer able to practice law, right? I mean, he has a record.
He's disbarred. He has a felony conviction.
So what does he do as far as work and that sort of thing? Was he set up with a job or something?
We took him back we took him into the garment center. That's how this whole thing started. And Tommy was helping him, and of course I was helping him vis-a-vis John. And then eventually he went to Las Vegas. His wife was sick, very sick, Stephanie, and he went to Las Vegas and finished out his years there. And they both died in Vegas. It was very sad because Mike was a very good lawyer and very loyal, and just another casualty in the government's quest to get Gotti.
Yeah.
If you look at all the casualties, Jesse. Look at all the people. Look at all the lives Gleason and others destroyed. What did they get from Mike Coiro? What did they get from Bruce Cutler? What was their gain? Nothing. Zero. What, they want to send a message? We put Mike Coiro in jail. There were 10 other lawyers you could have put in jail, but they had relationships. You got to remember, Gleason was hated in the Eastern. Those other assistants, his colleagues, despised him. So, just a bad situation, and they got away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some cases, whether it was Cutler or maybe even you, it was just collateral damage in the attempt to get Gotti.
Well, their thinking was, if you want to be friends with John Gotti, you're going to jail,
Right.
or we're going to destroy your life. Especially when I offered the $7 million for his bail, which again, we knew he wasn't getting it. But I just wanted him to have that dignity that there was somebody. Where was all his rich friends? Where were the Lizzes? Where were all these people? He did a lot for these people. You're talking a lot. When you're paving the highways and you're non-union, hundreds of millions of dollars you're saving. People should have walked into that courtroom with $100 million.
So did they ever come to a number and say this is his bail?
No, they never came to a number. But I let it be known through the media that there was $7 million plus security around the house and all the nonsense that they do for everybody. But he was never getting it. But I wanted him to know that that 30-year-old Lewis put together $7 million.